name is Hart and this is my educational autobiography. Some people didn't have to take the bus to school, but for the first 9 years of my schooling, from kindergarten through 8th grade, I did. These are one of the buses that's at my middle school right now, and that's pretty much the exact same bus that I rode for the first 9 years of my school. So that was a big part of my education, because you never know what you're going to learn on the bus. This is Betty Weaver Elementary School. This is where I went to school from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. It's a relatively small school, and the class sizes are anywhere from about 20 to 25 students. It was regular in that we took all the same core classes, such as like math, English, history, science, but we also had a special period called resources, which is when we had computer lab, we had PE, we had music class, we had art class, and every day was a different resource. So we learned different skills and different things that will help us throughout our education. Because Betty Weaver Elementary School is a public school, we had to meet certain requirements of testing, and these requirements were called Standardization of Learning tests, and we called them SOLs. Basically, at the end of every year, in certain subjects like math, history, and science, you had to take a test that basically summed up your whole year and what you should have learned in that year into the one test. And it was based out of 600 points, and if you got lower than a 400, you had to retake the SOL. And that's how they made sure that the teachers were teaching you exactly what they need to, they were meeting the criteria, and it was also a big comparison here from elementary school to elementary school. And also, the SOLs followed you all the way up through middle school. So even in middle school, we still had to take the SOLs. Another interesting point I'd like to bring up is that in my elementary school and all the elementary schools around us, the grading scale was different from kindergarten to 3rd grade. And once you hit 3rd grade, then we got to the regular ABC scale grading that we know today. But from kindergarten to 3rd grade, it was E for excellent, then S for satisfactory, then M and N were underneath that. Okay, this is the front office of my middle school, and basically it was a really big transition from elementary school, and I don't know about how it is up north or in all other schools, but here in Virginia, in middle school, it's a big transition, because in elementary school you have to walk in lines, get from class to class. All your classes are planned out for you. You don't have any options in the courses that you take. And there's no sort of specialty center at an elementary school, but at middle school, we actually got options to take different courses, like different languages and everything. We had the freedom to walk around the school from class to class without a teacher watching us or anything. So we had a little bit more freedom, where we also had a little bit more responsibility to get to our classes in time, and tardies and the tardy bell and everything started to really take account. And also, as you can see, it's an IB school now from the sign up top, and that basically means that you had to take at least one IB class, which is a specialties class. It's a very challenging course, and throughout the year you had to take periodic tests to make sure that you met the IB criteria. Alright, well, in my 6th grade year, my first year of middle school, a big transition for me was trailers. Our school wasn't big enough to hold all our kids, so as you can see around us, we have tons of different trailers. This was actually the same trailer that I was in for my 6th grade math class with Mr. Spears. But they're not as glamorous as they look, because I know they look so beautiful. But it got the job done, so. Alright, so this was my first ever football field, And I feel like that's a huge part of my personal education because sports taught me a ton of things like responsibility, accountability, teamwork, and it was just a huge thing for me. And I remember all through growing up, I had wanted to play football, and then this was my first ever football field, my game field. And there's a lot of work done on this hill, and actually one of the most important people in my life, my coach from middle school, this is exactly where he taught me and everything, and we still keep in touch today. So I felt like this was a big thing for myself and my education. This is the front of Monacan High School. This is where I went to school from 9th grade until 12th grade. It's a relatively average-sized school. I had a graduating class of 317 students. It's a very diverse school. Obviously, it's a public school, so nobody can be turned away. And it's a very sports-oriented school. Most people that go here participate in some sort of sports, and yeah. Monacan is a very big school, and the different choices of classes you can take. There's many different AP courses that you can go through to do whatever you want to get into whatever colleges you want to get into, the different programs. I took AP Biology as well as AP Literature and tons of different AP courses throughout my time here. A big thing here is talking with your guidance counselors. Every student has a specific guidance counselor. We have 5 guidance counselors, and they're split up between like A through E is one guidance counselor by your last name, and everybody goes to meet with their guidance counselor to talk about what classes they should take, like what their schedule should be like, what courses they need to graduate with a regular versus an advanced diploma. They're just people who are there to help you throughout your entire time at Monacan. This is the front of Humanities at Monacan High School. Humanities is basically a specialty center at our high school. They have a specialty center at every single school in our district, such as at our rival school, Cosby. They have the Science Center, the Health Studies, and at another school called Clover Hill, they have the Math Science program, and at Monacan they have Humanities. It's basically a program that you go through all 4 years that is a select group is chosen from essays and interviews that you have to go through in 8th grade. It's a very select group and a hard process to get through. For Humanities, you have to take certain classes, one of them being Perspectives, which is study of human culture and artwork and things like that. And you also have a very strict service learning course that you have to go through. Every year, you have to do 20 hours of community service, and every 9 weeks, you have to turn in service journals to the head of Humanities, and she grades those. So on our report cards, most people had 7 classes. We had 8 classes because we had to do the additional service learning. This is the back patio area for the Humanities students. This part of the building was basically where most of our classes were. The Humanities students were really close with each other because in our English, History, and Perspectives class, we were all in the same course. So throughout our 4 years here at Monacan High School, we all had at least 3 classes with each other the entire year, all 4 years. So it was a nice thing because we definitely got to develop strong relationships with the people that were in the program with us. But a counter argument to that might be you didn't get to meet everybody else at the school, so we probably felt a little bit more secluded and like a little bit more to ourselves than the rest of the students who were here without the Humanities program at Monacan High School.